Tom Cole here, and certainly an honor and a privilege for me to be with kind of a sit-down with a great friend of mine, a man who's made a difference in our community every day with his organization, Keary Sarabia from RFS. And Keary, first of all, it's good to see you, man.
Oh, it's good to see you, Tom.
You're losing weight. You're making me look bad. You know, I drop a couple pounds. It's like the deck chair off the Titanic.
Right.
Nobody notices.
Right.
You're slimmed down. You're looking good.
I'm trying to keep it up.
Listen, Keary, it's an honor. I want to have an opportunity to chat with you. I'm so familiar with your organization, the difference you're making in our community every day, the young people that you're helping in our school system. But let's get in the Wayback Machine. Let's tell the folks that don't know, give them the acronym, what that means for your company, and why and how you started this company. Let's go back to the beginning.
So, obviously, I'm Keary Sarabia. I'm the CEO of RFS Behavioral Health. What we are a mental health agency here in Toledo, Ohio, Northwest Ohio as well. And we provide school-based services to school children, ages kindergarten all the way up to senior in high school. So we service elementary and high schools. The program that we run for the school-based service program is called TACKLE, which stands for Teaching, Aspire, Critical Knowledge, Learning, and Empowerment. So we started this agency back in 2012. I worked at different mental health agencies. I am a person who has overcome a lot of adversity in my life, and I wanted to create an agency that was going to focus on one specific thing, and we're going to be great at what we do. So we started an agency that was primarily just working with kids, how we get kids back involved with athletics, providing mental health services, work with the communities, work with community partners, work with schools. And really the huge push, Tom, is making sure that what we're doing from a mental health standpoint is helping these kids achieve success in the classrooms and the community and beyond. So we just don't look at mental health as something just we put in a box. We believe that mental health is a lot bigger than what it is. So we look at it from a holistic approach that we want to get, obviously, address the kids' mental health issues. And then we also want to make sure that he's getting involved with, staying involved with education, community, extracurricular activities, increased school participation, things of that nature. And we've seen better results by doing that than we have just by providing mental health services. So we really believe in doing different myriads of services that gets the kids really engaged in services.
Keary, and I don't say this lightly, but you really are a hero to me in many ways. Being in the media for 20 years of TV and radio, and so 40 years of media, I meet a lot of people, and hero gets thrown around. Everybody's a legend, everybody's a hero. But in reality, my work with you, that is how I feel about what you've done, and I'll approach it in this fashion. Everyone's a product of their environment. Everyone is a product, as you well know, being the professional that you are, a product of your experiences. Let's go back even a little further. You were a star football player in our community, good enough to be a great player in college. You had all those things, and life happens, and sometimes we go down the wrong road. And tell the folks, if you don't mind, that part of the story, because I think it's so important for people to know what you've overcome, how you understand helping young people today that have those issues, because you were there, and you are a person of hope. I mean, I look at you, and any young person that has a problem, you can say to them, hey, I did it. You can do it. Take us back there, Kurt.
Well, first of all, I appreciate you asking the question, because that's one thing about my past where it's kind of my why. Yeah. And that's what we talk about. We address that with our staff of working with kids and providing mental health services and things of that nature, is understanding my why. Why do you do what you do? At the age of 14, my dad was actually my high school football coach, basically from kindergarten until he passed away. I remember the good old days playing for St. Hedwig's Elementary, the CYO leagues. There were many days when I was in fourth grade. I used to switch from the Pee Wee jersey to the Colt jersey and play two football games. And I remember the days that my dad had to wait people in, have people weigh in for me.
I remember those days.
Because I could only play offensive line, things of that nature. So, the first day of high school football practice, I got a phone call from my uncle saying I need to come to the hospital immediately with my mom. Got to the hospital and realized that my dad was dead. Had a major heart attack. At that point, it really spiraled my family and myself out of control. Unfortunately, when you lose a close family member like that,
Sure.
it affects many members of your family.
Absolutely.
So it affected just not my brothers and myself, it affected my mother. My mother had about 2 years of an episode with alcoholism. I was basically on my own at the age of 14.
Which is incredibly tough, by the way.
Which was so it was tough. So I moved back into my mom's house at age 16. And as you said, football was a huge part of my life, and football actually was the only thing that really saved my life. And we'll get into that later. But football kept me going, and football kept me involved. Football was enough to get people to care about me. So people saw the potential in me from an athletic perspective, so they really didn't want me to waste that talent. So people stayed on top of me. If I didn't have football, I don't think I would have got the attention or would have got the support that I needed. So luckily for football, like I said, people stayed on top of me. So I was fortunate enough to, stay with football, and football got me to where I was going to go. So graduated, went on to college, and when I came back into Toledo, 1 week of me being back in town, I was already involved with drugs. So started off, holding drugs for people. Then I ended up moving into selling drugs, and long story short, obviously that lifestyle took me down the road, and I became a cocaine addict, and I was an addict for 3-4 years, and overcame a lot of obstacles in my life. So I truly understand the effects that addiction causes the family. I truly understand that the things that I chose to do were, hurtful and made a lot of devastation to my personal family and to myself. Around age of 27, 28, I started realizing that I needed to make some changes in my life. I was fortunate enough to have a lot of good people in my life that I've known through football, and other people who cared about me. And I was able to reach out to them, who took me underneath their wings, and actually got me into this line of work. They felt that I had a story to tell. They felt that I could help a lot of people doing this. One thing I didn't mention that I'm very proud of is that I am a Toledo product. I am born and raised here in Toledo, born and raised in the North End. I'm proud graduate of Toledo Public School, Woolward High School. So I'm very entrenched with our neighborhoods and our communities that we serve. So I was able to get back on my feet. Started off working as a residential monitor at Compass. Then I moved my way to another agency, and I started off actually working as a same position, just working with youth. Worked my way up to a program manager. Then I became a director, where I actually started this exact same program at another agency. I decided that at the age of 39 that, I kept my envision when I got into line of work that I was kind of wanting to start my own agency with my own spin on it. So at the age of 39, which is never fun, I actually moved in with my mother and took a leap of faith, and went almost 10 months without a paycheck, without no money, living with my mother. Started the agency with the help of with 2 other people. So it was a pretty rough road to go down. The initial plan for RFS Behavioral Health was never more than to just work with about 300-400 kids, and for me, never to be removed from working with kids. So we started over at Wade High School, and we had 9 kids, and the late Coach Howard was a really good friend of mine. So coached with him for a number of years, a close friend of ours. Started over there with about 9 kids that were never eligible, had issues, mental health issues, academic issues, family issues, environmental issues, the whole 9 yards. We were able to get these kids into services. All these 9 kids were never eligible. They had trouble coming to school. Never stepped on a football field. Were failing courses. We were able to get them to pass. We were able to get them eligible. We were able to get them involved in positive activity. These 9 kids graduated, and kind of from their time, the program just took off. Principal called another principal called another principal, and it actually, this program morphed into what we call school-based services today. So it was really how, it started off with us just wanting to, be involved hands-on. It was me starting an agency that wanted to be very heavily involved with communities, because I just don't think that providing a one specific service is enough. We have to work with community partners. We have to provide education. We have to provide other resources for kids to get involved. And that's one of the things that I think that really has separated us from everybody else.
so many people struggle with addiction. I was speaking at a school not that long ago to parents, and it was about sports and drugs and those things. And I just asked, how many people in this audience, there were probably 400 people there, have in their family or surrounding family dealt with addiction issues? And Keary, you already know the answer to this because you're a professional in the industry. Literally every hand in the place went up. So you've seen addiction on every side. What is it, if there's one takeaway, and it's probably unfair to you, but one takeaway, is it somebody caring, somebody encouraging that person? What is the key? Or is it different for everybody? I mean, what does defeating addiction, would you say?
For me personally, I think it was the never-ending support that was continually provided to me. I had a lot of people in my life who just wouldn't let go. They knew I was better than what I was given. And I think for me, that was the huge part. Not everybody has that support in their life. Not everybody has that somebody that recognizes the good. And honestly, Tom, that's a lot of things. There's multiple things that lead to addiction, but self-worth is huge. A lot of people don't have self-worth. So they think this is what my life is, what it is.
That's why, again, Keary, you're such a great example, because the reason that you've been so successful with RFS is because you have the drive and passion. And that's an example to young people that if you put everything into what you're doing, success is going to take some time. I think young kids today think they want to be great at something instantly. Everybody wants to be good at something, right? They want to be recognized, right? They want to be, it's got to be now, it's got to be quick. And I tell them very often, it is an overnight success. People that they look at and say, oh, they're just a natural, and nobody's a natural. They put in the work, they put in the effort, they have the toughness to stick it out. You had 10 months you're not making any money, you could have easily said halfway into that, this isn't going to go. But because you had the toughness, you had the vision, you had the drive, you had the passion, look where you are now. So, I think young people need to hear that story because they all want to be great, right now. And it does not, if it happens for you that way, that's wonderful. But it doesn't normally go that way, right?
No, it doesn't. That's a great point. So there's a saying that I learned in recovery a long time ago. So if you want what I have, then you do what I do.
Ooh, I like that.
So
say that again. What is that now?
If you want what I have, then do what I do. Right. So that goes back to what we call old timers in the room. So you come across somebody who has 30 years of sobriety.
Yes.
You have somebody who's just coming out of treatment. They don't have a job, they don't have this, but they see this person who has 30 years or 20 years of sobriety, and they have a car, and they have a job, and they're happy, and their life seems perfect, and they're automatically projecting themselves to that. But wait, before you get to this, you got to do it. You got to do the work.
Great saying. I love that.
So we've learned that in recovery is that if you want what I have, then do what I do, right? So, but like you said, too often, and going back to your point was it's very few times have I ever come across a kid or any of our staff that kid don't want to do nothing. And even with adults, Tom, I mean, there's not too many people that said, what do you want to be when I grow up? I want to be a nobody. I want to be an addict. I want to
fail.
Jail.
Nobody wants to fail. Nobody wants to fail.
No, nobody says that. So again, it's providing services that are going to get people to realize their potential. They're, getting them to understand that there's different areas, there's different parts of life. It goes back to what I just said. If you don't know any better, how are you supposed to know? Right? Growing up in North Toledo, I never left North Toledo. I never left North End. I never knew Secor Road existed until I was a senior in high school.
Right.
When someone asked me if I wanted to go to Showcase Cinemas on Secor.
Right.
And I was like, what is Showcase Cinemas and where's Secor Road? So I didn't know.
This was your community. This was your...
Right. And I always tell a funny story is that, when I first got to California, and my defensive line coach picked me up and he took me to my apartment and then introduced me to my roommates, and there were Keone Kia, Paul Molioo, and George Ma'afu. And they opened the door and they're all wearing their Hawaiian leis. And I did, and here I am.
A little bit of culture shock for you?
A huge culture shock for me. And here I am, coming from North Toledo, never left my neighborhood. We never deviated from that. And it's the same thing with our kids. A lot of these kids don't leave the neighborhoods they live on. So it's exposing them to something different. It's providing them options. It's showing them different ways. It's not just providing the mental health services. It's how can we provide new ways to get kids and families excited about getting into services. And what really makes us successful at what we do and how we reach the kids is we're able to communicate with the people who are touching this kid's life on a daily basis, which is the teachers, which are the counselors, which are the deans, which are the principals, which are the administrators. They play such a huge part in this. And that's why I always keep going back saying the school districts that we work with, they're fabulous and they're fantastic. They're forward thinkers. They're innovators themselves because they truly understand that this service is needed. And us working together allows us to figure out the real problem with this kid, and we're able to help him become more successful. Now, the problem is with working with young people, the data will show you that we're bricklayers, right? We see 360s, we see 180s, right? But as a kid, you're always going to have those moments that you keep going back. So that constant, what we call positive reinforcement, is always there for them.
Well, it seems to me, Keary, that you and your organization are creating a team here at RFS, but at the youngster's school, a team. Here's what this young person needs, making them aware of that. So you get people at the school helping the youngster in the right fashion. You're over here helping the youngster in the right fashion. It creates a team effect to help lift this young person. Are you just through the schools, or can people contact you privately, a mother, father, somebody in the family? How does that work?
So we do. So we are in multiple schools. So you can always call our main number, which is 419-693-9600.
And you have a website?
Yes, rfstackle.com. We can direct any parent to let you know what schools we're in, what counties that we serve. But we also work with kids on an outpatient level on a basis where we'll see them on a weekly basis. So you don't necessarily have to be in the school that we service, but it does provide a great continuum of care and a quality of care by being in the schools, because it allows a kid to be able to see his clinician on a daily basis and allow us to see that kid on a daily basis if he's having any issues, and provides real-time intervention.
Keary, I've known you for a long time, and I don't say this lightly. Again, you're a hero in our community. You're an incredible success story, and the difference that you're making in your organization and your fine staff every day lifts all of us. Thank you so much, Keary. Appreciate it. Thank you. Doing a great work. Tom Cole.